I collapsed in the stark, sterile white of the emergency room, gasping for air that felt sharp and thin, like shards of glass slicing into my lungs. The world around me blurred into a haze of fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, throwing shadows that danced across the linoleum floor. The sterile smell of antiseptic mingled with the metallic odor of blood, both comforting and terrifying, stirring memories I fought desperately to suppress. My body felt bruised inside and out, the evidence of my life's battles hidden beneath layers of baggy clothing. "Mommy!" My toddler's voice broke through the haze, her tiny hands gripping my shirt, fingers tangling in the fabric. She was blissfully unaware, her big, innocent eyes wide with concern. "Are you okay?" I wanted to tell her everything would be all right, but a lump lodged in my throat. The weight of secrets pressed down on me. What if they saw past my bruises and noticed the truths lurking beneath? I could almost feel him out there, hunting me like prey, waiting for the right moment to strike. Medical personnel rushed in, gurneys squeaking as they wheeled me toward an examination bay, voices overlapping in urgent tones. I shut my eyes, succumbing to the chaos, feeling the beeping machines monitoring my fading heart, each pulse marking the seconds of my life slipping away. But beneath that fear, a flicker of hope sparked within me. Perhaps today would be the day I finally broke free from him, the man who had twisted love into a weapon. "Vitals are dropping," a voice shouted, snapping me back to reality. Somehow I mattered. I could feel my heart racing, a strange thrill mingling with my fear beneath those bright lights, an irony that twisted deep inside me. As the hands pressed on my chest, steadying my erratic heartbeat, a powerful voice broke through the panic. "You're gonna be okay. We're here to help you." I opened my eyes just as a male figure leaned over me. His worried blue eyes sliced through the fog. Whatever he saw, whatever lay behind these bruises, I couldn't hide from him. Could I trust him? The moment our gazes locked, I felt both seen and exposed. I wanted to scream that it wasn't just the bruises. It was the fear that had taken root in my chest. What if they opened me up and found not only my injuries, but the wreckage of my soul? Before I could spiral deeper, the door creaked open behind me, my heart sinking as a familiar figure stepped inside. David. His presence was like storm clouds brewing, bringing an instinctual dread. He wore his charm like armor, a smile plastered on his face that felt threatening. Instinctively, I sensed the tension shift in the room as Jason, the doctor, locked eyes with David. "Stay here," Jason commanded, positioning himself firmly between me and David. I felt a flicker of safety, but could I truly trust this man with my life, with my child? The answers eluded me. "Who are you to keep me from my wife?" David said, his voice smooth yet edged with menace. "I'm the doctor," Jason replied, his gaze unwavering. "And she needs care." His words were a promise amidst the chaos, igniting a flame of hope within me. I had never felt such warmth of protection until that moment. Yet, the walls I'd built began to feel dangerously thin as I tightened my grip on my child's hand, torn between fear and the promise of safety. As the tension churned in my belly, unspoken questions tangled in the air. Did Jason see the truth beneath these bruises? Could I dare to hope? David's smirk sent shivers down my spine. My mind raced. Was Jason truly my ally? I didn't want to risk exposing my vulnerability again. With Jason's gaze fixed intently on David, I could sense his calculations, assessing how to navigate this minefield. How could I trust him when the stakes felt so high? "Just stay out of this, Ethan," David retorted, his authority palpable, making me flinch at each word. I wanted to cry out for Jason to send him away, to chase away the darkness that plagued me. But the weight of indecision paralyzed my voice. "Everything will be fine. Jason assured me, but I wondered if he believed it. In that moment, reality whipped around me like a storm, chaotic and terrifying. But perhaps, just perhaps, the tangled mess of secrets and fears would begin to unravel. I took a shallow breath, clinging to the faint glimmer of hope that today might change everything. As the medical staff moved swiftly around us, the battle for my life and my freedom had just begun. The fluorescent lights of the ER felt like a spotlight shining on my vulnerabilities, magnifying every bruise hidden beneath my clothes. Jason's gaze remained steady, and I could feel the tension in the air, thick and suffocating. As David shifted closer, the corners of his mouth twitching in a semblance of concern, I knew how dangerous this situation was. I had to protect my child, the little one still clutching my shirt as if it were a lifeline. "Ethan," David said, adopting a tone that dripped with feigned sweetness, "I'm just here to see how my wife is doing." "Your wife needs medical attention, Mr. Mitchell," Jason replied firmly, his body a barrier between us and David. "This is not the time for family visits." The tension in the air thickened. I could see David's facade beginning to crack, anger flickering beneath the surface. "I'm sure she just tripped over a toy," he said, his voice deceptively calm. "No need for all this drama." I swallowed hard, my heart racing. His words were like knives, each one cut deeper, reminding me of every lie I had told to protect myself, every excuse crafted to explain away the bruises that had become a part of my life. "I fell," I managed to utter, the lie tasting bitter on my tongue. Jason's eyes darkened, his brows furrowing slightly, but there were no words to comfort me. Instead, he turned toward the medical staff bustling around us, directing them with an authority that made my pulse quicken. "Get her vitals stabilized. I need a full panel, and let's prepare for X-rays." As they rushed to comply, my brief moment of reprieve was shattered as David stepped forward, pushing the boundaries of Jason's protective barrier. "You really think she needs all of this? Just let her go home with me. We can handle this ourselves." He was at his most dangerous when he was calm, and I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. I couldn't let him take me back. I had to stay. "Don't you see? I'm fine. I just need some rest." I deflected, my voice shaking, but Jason was unyielding. "You're not fine. Your blood pressure is dangerously low, and your vitals indicate distress. You need help, and you need it now." His firm words gave me a flicker of confidence, a reminder that I was not alone. David glared at me, his eyes narrowing. "And what will they tell you? That you're doing all this for attention? You and that little brat both need to learn your place." The malice in his voice sent chills down my spine. I could feel my heart racing, pounding in my ears as I clutched my child closer, her tiny body pressed against mine like a shield. I wanted to close my eyes and disappear, but I remained frozen in place. Jason stepped back, confronting the monster I had been so afraid of. "This is not your decision anymore. You need to leave," he said, his voice low but firm. I could sense the entangled emotions swirling within me, fear, anger, and an overwhelming urge to fight for my child. "Please," I whispered to Jason, barely able to keep my voice steady. "I can't go back with him." David reacted like a viper, eyes narrowing with irritation. "You think you're going to keep her here? I'll have you fired, Ethan. This is a waste of resources." "I'm not afraid of you, David," Jason shot back, his body tense, muscles coiled like a spring. "You don't intimidate me, and I will ensure she gets the care she needs." "Ethan, please." David's tone twisted again, this time shifting to a voice dripping with fake concern. "You really believe she'll be safe here? You might as well be putting a target on her back. You think they'll protect her if you cause a scene?" But Jason held firm. "You've been identified as a threat. There are protocols for this, and I will see them through." His voice was steady, resolute. You need to back off. I could feel David's anger radiating off him, filling the room with an energy that made my skin crawl. You don't know anything about us, he hissed, but there was a tremble in his voice that hinted at insecurity. The only thing I know, Jason replied, a steely edge to his words, is that I will protect her and her child at all costs. You're done here. As David was forced to retreat, I felt the weight of my decisions crashing over me. Jason turned back to face me. You're safe. I won't let him hurt you here. But I shook my head, trapped in the turmoil of distrust and conflicting emotions. Could I truly believe him? Every instinct screamed for me to armor myself against the world, to keep my walls raised high. I can't, I whispered, battling the fear that threatened to swallow me whole. You're not alone anymore, Jason assured me, and there was something about the way he spoke that ignited a small spark of hope deep inside me, shaky and fragile, but growing brighter. It was a chance, one I desperately wanted to take, but my past had a way of slithering into every moment of potential joy. As medical staff moved around the room, preparing the equipment for my examination, I closed my eyes, allowing a single tear to slip down my cheek. Maybe, just maybe, today might change everything, but first, I had to allow myself to be vulnerable enough to accept it. The fight wasn't over, it had only just begun. The atmosphere in the room shifted as Jason knelt beside my bed, his gaze focused and unwavering. The fluorescent lights hummed softly, highlighting the tension etched in every line of his face. I need to examine you, he said gently. But first, I need to know what really happened. Can you tell me about the bruises? I felt a tight knot in my throat. I fell, I insisted, my voice trembling despite my resolve. A familiar reflex, one born from years of crafting lies to mask the truth. But the look in Jason's eyes told me he wasn't buying it. Sarah, he urged, his tone steady but laced with concern. You can't protect him by lying. I can help you, but I need your truth. His words breached the walls I had erected around myself, prodding at the deep-seated fear that threatened to swallow me whole. It felt impossible to reveal the ugly details of my life, especially when the man who had put me through hell was lurking just outside. You don't understand, I stammered, the memories clawing their way back into focus, the rage, the fear, the desperation. I do understand, Jason replied, his voice low and calming. I've seen this before. Those bruises tell a story, but I need you to share it with me. I squeezed my eyes shut, grappling with the chaos swirling inside me. A part of me wanted to shout that I was fine, that this was just another accident. But another voice whispered that I could be free if I only had the courage to share my truth. Defending myself, I managed to croak out, feeling a rush of shame wash over me as I broke the silence. It's not just falling. He hurts me. When I try to stand up for myself, Jason's expression shifted to something softer, more understanding. Thank you for telling me. You're stronger than you think, and you're safe here. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to clasp onto that glimmer of hope as if it were a lifeline. Just then, the door creaked open and a warm presence filled the room. A social worker named Lisa Chen, her demeanor poised and compassionate. Hi, I'm Lisa, she said with a welcoming smile. I'm here to talk about your options moving forward. As Jason stepped back, I felt a weight lift slightly. Lisa's calm energy offered a brief respite from the storm that had engulfed me. You're not alone, Sarah, Lisa said gently. This is a safe space, and I want to help you figure things out. I'm not sure what I need, I admitted, the admission feeling like a break in the armor I had worn for so long. That's okay, Lisa replied, her tone soothing. We'll take this step by step. Right now, you're safe, and we're going to make sure of that. Jason exchanged a glance with her, a subtle nod communicating support, and I felt emboldened. I can't go back home. He'll find me. He always does. You will never go back to him. Not if I can help it, Jason said firmly, and there wasn't a hint of doubt in his voice. We're going to get you the resources you need to stay safe. Just hearing those words brought tears to my eyes. I had lived so long in the shadows, but now I was beginning to see a light at the end of the tunnel. Every step forward felt like a battle in itself, but sharing my truth felt like a revolution. Thank you, both of you, I whispered, feeling raw and exposed. I don't know what comes next, but I want to try. Good. That's the first step, Lisa replied, her smile brightening the gloom that had settled over me. We'll set up a safe plan and explore your options for leaving him behind for good. Jason returned to my side, his presence steady and reassuring. You don't have to face this alone, not anymore. Trust that we'll fight for you, he said. In that moment, I felt the vast weight of years spent bottled up unravel. My heart raced with both fear and hope as Jason's words seeped into the cracks of my defenses, filling them with warmth. Maybe, just maybe, I was finally ready to fight against my tormentor. Just then, the door swung open, and in strode a security guard. We're on high alert for any unauthorized personnel, he stated, scanning the room. His presence was a reminder that the world beyond these walls was still a threat, but it also echoed the protection I was beginning to feel. Thank you, I whispered, my voice cracking. Thank you all for being here. As the staff began to prepare for my examination, I recognized a newfound strength within myself, however tentative. The battle for my life was far from over, but this felt like the first steps towards reclaiming it. I had allies now, and I was no longer fighting in silence. As Jason placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder, the chill in my core began to thaw ever so slightly. It was time to forge ahead, to take control of my narrative. This fight wouldn't be easy, but I felt more prepared to face it, and with every breath, I clung to that fragile hope. The sounds of the ER faded into a rhythmic hum as the medical team busied themselves around me. I could feel a mixture of anxiety and something else, anticipation perhaps, as I braced myself for what was to come. With each passing moment, I could sense the protective bubble forming around me, and for the first time in years, there was a hint of something close to safety. His voice had a soothing quality that washed over me, and despite the flutter of nerves in my stomach, I nodded. Okay. Before long, I felt the cool touch of a stethoscope against my skin, and I flinched slightly at the sensation. You're okay, Jason assured me, his eyes locking onto mine. Just focus on my voice. The cold metal was a stark contrast to the warmth of his gaze. I wondered how many times I had anticipated a similar touch from David, only to know it came with a dark agenda. The thought sent chills down my spine, fueling my resolve to push through this moment. As Jason listened to my heart, I could see the subtle shift in his expression, a tension brewing behind his calm demeanor. Your heart rate's elevated, he noted, pulling back slightly to catch my eye. Have you been feeling anxious? A knot formed in my throat as I thought of the weight of my situation. I'm not sure, I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. It's just hard to breathe sometimes. Understandable, he replied, jotting notes on my chart. This is a lot to process, but remember, you're safe here. We're all trained to help you. His words settled in, weaving a fragile web of comfort around my fears. I had never known that level of care existed outside of my imagination. As the exam continued, I could feel the tension in my body begin to ease, if only slightly. Just then, Lisa stepped in, her presence warm and reassuring as she approached. How are we doing? She asked, a soft smile of encouragement on her face. I think I'm okay, I managed, glancing back at Jason for reassurance. The storm inside me was far from over, but I began to recognize each heartbeat as a step toward healing, each breath a manifestation of my will to survive. "Great, let's go over the next steps," Lisa said, pulling out a clipboard filled with information. "We'll discuss safe housing options and how to ensure your legal protection moving forward." My heart pounded in my chest. "You mean you can help me leave him?" "Yes," she affirmed, her voice steady. "It's important that we create a safety plan, one that protects you and your child. I understand this is scary, but you deserve to live without fear." "You both really think I can do this?" The weight of disbelief was heavy in my words. I had spent so long convincing myself I was trapped that the idea of escape felt surreal. Jason placed a hand on my shoulder again, his touch grounding me. "You've already taken the hardest step by being here, Sarah. The rest will come in time." With Jason's steadying presence, I began to visualize a new life, one painted with the colors of possibility. Each breath I took felt lighter, the heaviness of years of abuse ebbing away. But still, roaming in the corners of my mind were the shadows of doubt and fear that clung stubbornly to my past. Lisa continued, her voice soft and measured. "You're not just a victim, you're a survivor, and we're going to make sure you can thrive, starting with finding you a safe place to stay." As she spoke, my mind flickered back to my daughter, the anchor that had kept me afloat all this time. "What about my child? Will she be safe?" My voice wavered, anxiety flooding through me at the thought of being separated from her, even momentarily. "Absolutely," Lisa affirmed. "We can look into transitional housing that accommodates children. The goal is to keep you both safe together." The spark of hope within me ignited further. "And legal measures. I need to ensure he can't get to us," I added, my voice firm with newfound conviction. Jason nodded, his eyes reflecting a fierce determination. "We can file for a restraining order, and I'll make sure that your case is prioritized. He won't be able to approach you legally." "Do you really think that will work?" I asked, the weight of fear still lingering in my chest. "It will," Jason assured me, and there was a confidence in his demeanor that calmed my racing heart. "With the evidence we have and the support we'll gather, we can protect you." Just then, the door swung open, and a nurse stepped in with a tray of supplies. "Time for some tests, Sarah," she chirped, her cheerful demeanor making me feel almost guilty for the heaviness I carried. "Just some blood work," she continued, flashing a reassuring smile. "It'll be quick." I nodded slowly, the nurse approaching with an outstretched hand, the rubbery tubing of her medical gloves snapping against her wrists. But just as she moved to draw my blood, my breath hitched in my throat, and I was suddenly thrust back into a darkness I'd fought so hard to escape. The memories of David's confrontations tumbled over one another, replaying in a whirlwind that threatened to choke me. "Sarah," Jason's voice cut through the fog. "You okay?" The warmth of his gaze pierced the shadows, anchoring me back in the present. I'm fine," I stammered, forcing a smile which felt weak and fleeting. "Just tell me if you need a moment," he reiterated, his concern genuine. "Okay," I whispered, the sound barely carrying across the room. The nurse applied a tourniquet around my arm, and I could feel the tightness build, but this time I was determined to withstand it. I chose to face the discomfort. I chose to face everything, past, present, and the uncertainty of the future. With each needle prick, I started to shed the layers of fear encasing me. I imagined them falling away like autumn leaves, one by one. I could reclaim my power, and with the help of Jason and Lisa, perhaps, just perhaps, I would reclaim my life. As my blood filled the vial, I took a deep, steadying breath, ready to step into my truth. I was not merely a victim. I was a survivor, and the fight for my life and my daughters had only just begun. I knew the road ahead would be tough, but I also felt a surge of strength coursing through me with each passing minute. I was no longer invisible. I was seen, and this time I would not back down. As I waited for the test results, an anxious tension swirled in the air, thickening with every heartbeat. I could sense the calm demeanor of Jason beside me, but the sense of impending dread from outside loomed louder. David's voice echoed in my mind, a bitter reminder of the torment I had lived through, and I knew the moment of confrontation was coming. "Stay calm," Jason urged, his voice steady against the rising noise in the hallway. "You're safe here." I didn't respond, my thoughts racing. I recalled too many times David's charm had masked his rage, and fear crept in, threatening to overshadow the tiny flicker of hope I had begun to nurture. Before I could spiral into memories, Lisa re-entered the room, her expression shifting from relief to urgency. "Sarah, we need to be aware of the situation outside. David is trying to get through. It's likely he's going to create a scene." A knot twisted in my stomach. "Is he going to come in here?" "Not if we can help it," she replied firmly. "The security team is prepared, but I want you to understand. He may try anything to reach you. We have to discuss immediate steps for your protection." Jason stepped forward, his presence reassuring. "You're going to face him and we'll ensure you have the support you need. But we need to nail down the plan." I took a deep breath, the weight of my reality settling heavily on my chest. "What should I do?" I asked, my voice trembling. Lisa's eyes met mine. "First, we need to ensure you're secure. I'm having security escort you to a safe area if it comes to that. If he tries to breach, we'll stop him." Just then, a loud voice reverberated in the hallway, and I recognized it immediately. David was here. "Sarah, I need to talk to you." His anger was palpable, an icy wind that slithered around my skin. Panic surged within me, a raw scream clawing at my insides. How had he gotten past security? My heart raced as I glanced nervously between Jason and Lisa, fearing the worst. "We may need to move now," Jason said, his eyes locked on the door as if it were a ticking time bomb. A sudden burst of noise indicated David was getting closer, and hunger for control twisted knots in my gut. "What if he gets in here?" I fretted. "He won't," Jason assured me, his voice hardening with determination. "But you have to trust me. Stay close." At that moment, the door burst open, and several security personnel filed into the room, blocking any potential escape route. Their presence filled the space with an air of authority, but my heart didn't settle. "Sir, you need to leave," one of the guards said to David, who stood in the threshold, fury written all over his face. "No, I have the right to speak to my wife." David's tone was laced with indignation, both furious and desperate. "Back off now," the guard ordered, stepping protectively in front of Jason and me. As David rallied, determination flickered within me, igniting a vital instinct. I realized that this was my moment to reclaim power. I was no longer the silent, frightened woman he had left broken. I was strong enough to stand up for myself. "Get out!" I heard my own voice rise above the chaos, shaky but steady. Jason and Lisa turned to look at me, surprised. "Sarah," Jason began, concern shadowing his features. "No," I insisted, grounding myself. "This time, I won't let him intimidate me. He doesn't get to control my life anymore." David's face twisted as he took a step forward, but the security guards closed ranks, blocking his path. "You think you can keep me from my own family?" he shouted, voice echoing with a twisted sense of entitlement. "Sir, you need to leave now," one of the guards reiterated, stepping into David's line of sight. Unfazed, I pushed against my own boundaries, forcing a calmness into my voice. "David, you can't talk to me like this anymore. I'm done. I'm not going back to you." The air went electric with the tension as David's demeanor shifted. layers of fury and disbelief churning in his eyes. "You don't know what you're doing," he seethed. "You're making a huge mistake and you'll regret it." A chill raced up my spine, but I held my ground, steeling myself against the familiar spiral of guilt. "No, I won't," I replied, my voice strong and unwavering. "This is the right decision." "Enough," Jason intervened, stepping between us. "You will not continue to threaten her. She deserves to live free from you, and we will ensure it." Outrage painted David's face, his fury darkening the room, but somewhere beneath the rage, I detected a tremor of uncertainty. The crazy bravado that had always accompanied his threats faltered just enough for me to sense a shift. The guards had moved into action, pushing David to the door. "You'll regret this," he spat again, venom lacing his voice, but there was a crack, a fragment in the facade I'd feared wearing thin. As the guards escorted him from the room, I felt a mix of victory and fear, a solitary tear slipping down my cheek. Jason and Lisa turned their concerned gazes back to me. "Are you okay?" Jason asked gently. I wiped away the tear, inhaling shakily. For the first time in a long while, I felt a surge of empowerment. "I was," I said, "but now I'm ready to act. I won't let him control me ever again." Both Jason and Lisa flashed looks of approval, the warmth of support building. "That's right," Lisa said, her voice encouraging. "You're taking back your narrative, and that's what matters." And with each confident step forward, a new path unfolded before me, one that promised freedom, safety, and the hope for a life reclaimed from the grip of fear. I felt as if the darkness I'd sworn would suffocate me had finally begun to lift, revealing glimmers of light and possibility. In that moment, I knew I would fight tooth and nail for a future I believed I deserved. I would not be a victim. I would be a survivor, and I would reclaim my life. The air in the hospital room crackled with a mixture of triumph and apprehension as the echoes of David's threats faded down the hallway. I turned to Jason and Lisa, their faces a mirror of my own emotions, a blend of relief and determination. I could still feel my heart pounding in my chest, adrenaline coursing through my veins, but there was a new rhythm to it now. I was no longer drowning in fear. I was ready to fight. "Let's talk about what happens next," Lisa said, breaking the electric tension between us. As she spoke, she pulled out a stack of papers from her clipboard. "We have to ensure you're protected. We can file for a restraining order today, and I'll help you navigate the legalities of it. But we need to act quickly." The gravity of her words sank in. A restraining order felt like both a lifeline and a daunting step into the unknown. I nodded, swallowing hard. "Will it really keep him away? I don't want to feel like I'm just pushing him back temporarily." Jason stepped forward, his voice soothing. "Yes, it can be a solid buffer, but it's also a reminder of your strength. It gives law enforcement a basis to take action if he violates it." "And if he finds loopholes?" I asked, the worry lacing my tone. "There are legal mechanisms in place for repeated violations," Lisa reassured me. "First, we need to make sure he knows there are consequences for his actions. He has to understand that this time, it's different." Jason moved closer, his presence settling the whirlwind of anxiety in my chest. "The most important thing is that you keep yourself safe. Document everything that happens, even if it seems small. We'll make sure you have the support you need throughout this process." "Okay?" I breathed, the conviction growing stronger in my voice. "Let's do this." Just then, a team of officers entered the room, the click of their boots on the tiled floor rhythmically cutting through the air. They were there to discuss the protective order. My stomach twisted in knots. This was real, the moment I would put my life in legal hands. "Sarah Mitchell?" one officer asked as he stepped forward, a notepad in hand. "Yes, that's me." I felt exposed under their scrutiny, but I reminded myself why I was here, to reclaim my power. "Can you detail what happened today with your husband?" he prompted, his voice professional but gentle. "David tried to force himself into the hospital," I began, feeling like every word was a heavy stone I had to push off my chest. He was furious and threatening. "He doesn't understand that I'm done being silent." The officer nodded, scribbling down notes. With each word I spoke, I felt the weight of years spent hiding his violence lift ever so slightly. I wasn't just reporting, I was reclaiming parts of myself that had lain dormant. "It's crucial that we document every threat he makes," the officer continued. "Every action counts, Sarah. This is the foundation to keeping him away." As the officer listed potential steps I could take, I found myself fragmented between fear and empowerment. What if he doesn't listen? I confessed, the shadow of doubt creeping in once again. Jason leaned over, his arm brushing against mine, a reassuring warmth amidst the cold, hard truth of my circumstances. "We'll make sure the order is upheld, and if he tries anything, you have backup," he reminded me. "Please believe in that strength." The conversation moved on, and soon we filled out the necessary forms for the restraining order. Each signature felt like a tiny celebration of defiance, a step toward building a foundation of safety. Anxiety lingered, but with each stroke of the pen, I felt the flutter of hope take hold. Once the paperwork was complete, the officers prepared to review my case further. "We'll keep you updated on the status. You have every right to feel safe," one said. "If anything changes or you feel threatened, don't hesitate to call." "I won't," I promised, feeling a flicker of confidence spark within me. As they left, I felt lighter, as if I were shedding invisible burdens one by one. As the officers exited the room, Lisa glanced at me, concern etched on her face. "I know you're feeling empowered, but I need you to remember, this is just the first step. You'll need ongoing support, and we'll help you find it." "All right," I acknowledged, swallowing the newly formed ball of adrenaline. "What else do I need to do?" "First, let's set up a safe space for you, a transitional place where you and your daughter can stay free from David's reach," Jason suggested, his tone returning to that calm, steady cadence that had become so comforting. "It's crucial to put distance between you two." "Yes," I said, feeling that anticipation grow inside. "I want to make sure my daughter is safe too." As we began to plot out the logistics for transitioning to the safe house, a warmth spread through me, dawning upon me clearer than ever. This was finally my chance to build a new life. But just as I began to feel a sense of control boil up within me, an urgent commotion suddenly flared out beyond the door. The shouts became intermingled with chaos, and dread submerged me, yanking me back into anxiety's suffocating grip. David's voice cut through the air again, wild and unrestrained. "I want that woman back." "Stay back!" shouted the guards stationed at the entrance, voices raising defensively. "Get away from her!" Jason bellowed, instinctively stepping in front of me, his eyes blazing protectively. I felt frozen in fear as panic bubbled beneath my skin. My body screamed for action, yet it was as if I was anchored to the spot, the weight of my past threatening to pull me under. I clutched Jason's arm, my breath coming faster. "What do we do? What if—" "Focus on the now," he urged gently but firmly, his eyes locked onto mine, grounding me amidst the chaos. "You've got this. We'll handle it together." Then it clicked. I wouldn't be defined by the darkness of my past. I would combat it with the strength I was reclaiming. "Let me fight with you," I proclaimed, my voice suddenly steady for the first time. "I will not back down." The realization ignited a fire in my chest, and the surge of empowerment jolted me. I would face whatever lay ahead, together, stronger than before. I would not allow David to shatter my spirit again. The time had come to rise. The commotion outside intensified. Shouts mingled with the heavy footsteps of security rushing to contain the situation. I felt Jason's hand on my shoulder, strong and steady, anchoring me to the present. The fear clawing at my insides fought to take over, but I resisted. This was my moment. "Stay close to me," he urged, his voice cutting through the turmoil. "Just remember what we've been working toward." As the guards attempted to usher David away from the entrance, his anger filled the hallway like a dark cloud, threatening to suffocate the light of my newfound strength. "This isn't over, Sarah," his words echoed, full of desperation and entitlement. "You can't escape me." "George, it's time to get him out of here," a guard commanded, his tone no longer flexible but harsh and uncompromising. "I'm being pushed out of my life," David shouted again, resentment swelling in his demeanor. I could hear the frustration, the entitlement, and the confusion battling within him. It was a wild cocktail of rage, fear, and desperation, and beneath it lay a hint of vulnerability I was certain he couldn't afford to show. In that chaotic moment, my fight-or-flight instinct coiled tightly in my chest. The anger that would normally ignite a fear response in me was now transformed, turned into resolve. I could hear the distant murmurs of officers communicating to one another, making calls and arrangements, establishing order among the chaos. But at that moment, I was hyper-focused on reclaiming my own path. Jason kept his gaze firmly on me, his presence radiating comfort and strength. Yet I sensed the urgency in him too. "We'll make sure you're safe," he reiterated, gripping my arm as though we could fight this battle together. "But we need you to focus. This is a turning point." His words resonated with a sense of truth. This was about my choices, my future, not just about David and the trauma he had instilled. "I'm ready," I affirmed, determination racing through my veins. I remembered all those nights of trembling silently in the dark, the nights that stretched into unbearable lengths under the weight of his control. This was my chance to rip myself free from those past chains. The officers finally managed to push David back and away from the door, turning their attention toward him with composed authority. "Sir, you are being detained until we clarify the situation further," one officer stated, maintaining firm eye contact. David's rage flickered like a dangerous flame, but just before he could explode further, something in his expression changed to doubt mingled with desperation. "You can't do this. She wants me back." His eyes turned back to me, searching for a glimmer of the past that was irrevocably severed. I didn't flinch. I stood my ground, my heart pounding loudly in my ears. "I'm not going back with you, David," I asserted, my voice surprisingly steady. "I choose freedom over control." The officers moved to encircle him, ensuring he wouldn't breach the space that separated us any further. I forced myself to hold David's gaze, an act of defiance I didn't know I had in me. "You lost that right the moment you chose to hurt me," I declared, my heart racing. Jason stood firm beside me, a protector made of steel, and I could feel the warmth of his reassurance radiating. This was it. Right here, right now, I was declaring my narrative, and I had no intentions of letting David run my life anymore. "All right, Sarah," one of the officers speaking to me shifted slightly, making adjustments to his notes. "What we need to establish is whether you would like to press charges today, in light of the threats made and the circumstances surrounding your situation." The weight of the question hung heavily in the air, yet I could feel the strength building inside me. I had hesitated to think about the criminal charge implications, uncertain about the consequences it might bring, but with each second that passed, I felt a clearer sense of purpose ignite within me. This wasn't just a fight for me, but for my daughter too. "Yes," I finally answered, my voice firm. "I want to press charges." I want him to understand that he can't claim ownership over me any longer." Jason's expression softened, pride mingling with relief as he nodded in agreement. "Good," Lisa added, joining us with a renewed sense of determination. "This is a crucial step towards taking back control of your life." The officers nodded, efficiently beginning the paperwork while ensuring the atmosphere remained respectful but firm. David fumed at the intrusion, yelling and signaling tantrums against the security that now tightly held him in their strong grips. Watching him flail against the restraints, was this the man who once confined me with my own guilt? I couldn't help but feel an odd sense of freedom wash over me. For every chaotic lash of his frustration, I felt my past receding further into shadow, replaced by the invigorating light of hope. I wasn't just here to survive, I was ready to stand my ground. As the officers moved to process David and establish the charges, I turned to Jason and Lisa, a bond forged in this struggle. "Thank you," I said softly, feeling the waves of gratitude wash over me. "I really appreciate your support." "Always," Jason replied, his gaze steady and unwavering, embodying the promise of loyalty. "You're not alone in this. We will see this through, together." With that, something deep within me shifted. I felt a connection sparked by shared convictions, an understanding that began to transcend the trauma we were all caught in. This was the fight of our lives, but I could feel the power swell, and I was no longer the victim I had been for so long. As the officers took their next steps, I felt the chains that once held me crumble slowly, a slow liberation. I was ready to rise, ready to stand tall, erase the fear that had brought me to this point, and step boldly into my future, undeterred. And as I took a step forward, I knew I would not be backing down, not ever again. I was a survivor. I was free. And I would reclaim my story. A year had passed since that tumultuous day in the hospital. I stood in the kitchen of our cozy new home, sunlight streaming through the windows. The aroma of fresh cupcakes filled the air, a testament to a life reborn. My daughter, Mia, twirled around my legs, laughter spilling from her lips like musical notes in the morning light. "Mommy, can I help?" she chirped, her big eyes shining with excitement. "Of course, Chef," I smiled, directing her to the bowl where we had mixed the batter. These moments felt transformative, each laugh we shared another step away from the shadows of our past. "Mix it like a tornado," Mia exclaimed joyfully, her enthusiasm infectious. I chuckled as I watched her dance, flour flying as she joined in the fun. Moments like these were the bright colors painted over the canvas of my new life. After the restraining order was issued against David, we sought refuge at a safe house for a while. But it wasn't just about finding a temporary shelter. It was about building a future together, brick by brick. I had immersed myself in advocacy work, sharing my story to empower other women still ensnared by their circumstances. Suddenly, the doorbell rang, startling me from my joyful reverie. Mia dashed eagerly to answer it, but Jason stepped in first. "Let me get that," he said, a reassuring smile on his face. As I turned back to the batter, I felt a swell of gratitude for him, for the support he provided. Our bond had deepened throughout this process, and in every shared glance, I felt shielded from the struggles we had faced. Jason returned moments later with our social worker, a warm presence who had been instrumental in guiding us. "Hi there," she greeted, her smile bright. "I have exciting news about the upcoming advocacy event. They want you to share your story." I nodded, the nerves surging yet again. "Really? I'd love to." A rush of empowerment washed over me. My past was transforming into hope for others. As Mia resumed her cupcake making, I reflected on the journey that had led me here. This was a safe space where laughter eclipsed fear, love replaced pain, and freedom blossomed in every corner. Amidst the delightful chaos of our kitchen, I knew that we were not just surviving, we were thriving, ready to face the future together. No longer a victim, I had reclaimed my story and was excited to inspire others to find their own strength. This was the beginning of a brighter chapter, undeniable and irrevocable. We, a family of hope, healing, and endless possibilities, were ready to rise together.